Driver, a former convict, steps out of prison. From his expression, it's clear the years inside haven't reformed him. His first move is to rush to a hidden car, stocked with a gun and details on a man. He pulls out an old photo of himself with his brother Gary, tucks it into the visor, and drives off. He speeds through traffic without concern, enters an office building uninvited, and shoots the man from the file directly in the head. It's obvious jail left him unchanged. Meanwhile, in a shabby building, a cop buys drugs. Sitting in his car, he injects himself and drifts away. The next day, he shows up at the murder scene, smoking carelessly. He's partnered with Detective Cicero, who isn't happy about it. He isn't either, but retirement is close. Annoyed, Cicero takes his cigarette and drops it in her coffee. The news reports the killing, describing the suspect but leaving the name out. Driver meets Roy, who supplied the car and information. Roy wants more money, stunned at what Driver brings out. When asked where he got it, Driver brushes him off and demands more names. Roy claims it took 10 years to track the men and the cost has gone up. He tries to change their deal, but Driver refuses. Driver calmly tells him the price just dropped. Furious, Roy calls in Kenny, a fighter, to deal with him. Kenny steps forward but freezes when he spots a tattoo on Driver's hand. Recognizing it, he backs down instantly, calling Driver a ghost not to be crossed. Terrified, he leaves. Roy yells after him, but Kenny doesn't return. Realizing the danger, Roy hands over the documents and even offers a refund. At the station, Cicero and Cop review the CCTV footage. Cicero feels Driver looks familiar. Cop tries to light another cigarette, but Cicero's glare stops him. On closer inspection, she notices the victim recognized Driver just before being shot. Driver studies his next files and heads out. More blood is coming. That night, Cop calls his ex-wife Marina. Their talk is brief. She only confirms he'll take their son to a game before hanging up. Elsewhere, Killer finishes yoga and joins Lily, his lover. He says he's done with yoga, boasting he conquered it, and wants something more extreme. Lily worries he's tempting death, but he insists he's never felt more alive. He moves in for a kiss, but his phone interrupts. The caller explains a new client needs a job done fast. The target is Driver. The call ends, and a photo of Driver arrives. Lily asks who it is, but Killer stays quiet. He grabs a fake ID and license plate, gears up with Lily's help, and drives off after one last kiss. Later, while scouting, Killer speaks to his online therapist. He admits his jobs are becoming harder. She suggests a break, but he says that's impossible. When asked about his real work, he lies, calling himself a surgeon who removes cancer. To him, cancer means people. At the station, Cicero continues digging. Sergeant Malalary apologizes for pairing her with Cop and suggests giving him a chance. Cop arrives for updates and Cicero shows him Driver's mugshot. The warden recognized him from the news, saying Driver made money smuggling contraband inside. Cop asks about gangs, but Cicero says no. Driver did 10 years with no protection, taking down anyone who came for him. The tattoo alone kept people away. He was locked up for a Bakersfield bank robbery, where he served as the getaway man and pulled off the escape flawlessly. Cop wonders how he was caught. Elsewhere, a young woman helps an elderly man home. He offers her a drink for company. Watching from his car, Killer tells his therapist he changed careers for personal reasons, but now feels bored. Prepping his gun, he admits Lily distracts him, which is dangerous. Meanwhile, Driver reaches Casa Grande and reviews his target. He checks the photo in his visor, loads his gun, and steps out. The therapist reminds Killer he once talked about marrying Lily. As he watches Driver, he realizes she's right and says he will propose. She asks if he's off his meds. He admits it. She warns against it, but he hangs up, shifting focus. Driver walks inside, and Killer follows seconds later. Cicero shows Cop a disturbing tape. Driver's crew being ambushed after the robbery. They were set up, and someone filmed the massacre like a snuff movie. Cop asks where it came from, and Cicero explains she found it during her first week as a detective. She couldn't watch it fully but kept the case. On the tape, only Driver and Gary survive at first. The attackers demand the money, holding a gun to Gary's head. Meanwhile, the young woman with the old man starts feeling drugged. On the tape, Gary apologizes to Driver, but Driver gives up the money's location. Outside the door, Driver recalls the moment Gary's throat was cut in front of him. These men are the ones he's hunting now. Driver bursts in, shoots the old man's hand as he films, then executes him without hesitation. He leaves the girl safe, unaware Killer has arrived. A little girl spots Killer, distracting Driver. Gunfire breaks out until Killer ducks for cover. When he looks up, Driver is gone, escaping in his car. On the tape, Driver was shot in the head and pronounced dead. Cicero explains he survived because the bullet ricocheted, leaving him with a metal plate in his skull. She knows he's after everyone on that tape. Cop picks up his son late, angering Marina. On the way to the game, Cicero calls with word of another shooting tied to Driver. Cop casually pretends the call is still live, reassuring his son, who smiles. Hours later, he reaches the scene. Malalari reveals the victim was the man behind the snuff film. Worse, a witness saw two shooters, Driver and someone else. Killer updates Lily, saying, Driver has no finesse, only raw speed and no fear. Lily reassures him, and he asks her to marry him. She agrees. At a motel, Driver flips through TV news about the shootings, then turns it off. The next morning, Cicero notices a needle mark on Cop's hand. He hides it, claiming it's just a tattoo, and tells her he met Marina years ago when she was his CI. She doubts his story, but lets it pass. Driver heads to a woman's home, waiting until her family leaves. He enters quietly and surprises her. Picking up a family photo, he's slapped. She demands to know why he cut her off in prison. He says it was to avoid ruining 3 lives. He asks about the child in the photo, but she says it isn't theirs. She had an abortion. Driver is crushed. She hugs him through tears before her baby's cries break the moment. She follows him out, saying she saw the news and hopes he kills them all. Meanwhile, Killer and Lily marry quietly, celebrating with a shooting contest. He promises her a family and swears he'll quit. Cop begs Marina to take him back, but she refuses. She demands his drugs and he gives them, promising rehab once the case ends. Driver tracks his next target at a club, the man who slit Gary's throat. In the restroom, he stabs him in the neck. Dying, the man asks Driver to call his son and apologize. Driver agrees. Later, news says the man survived and is in the hospital. Driver rushes there, storms the operating room, and unloads bullets into him until he's dead. Chaos erupts as Cop pursues him through the halls. They exchange fire until Driver vanishes again. Outside, Killer chases him in a violent car battle. Killer manages to hit Driver in the neck, but he escapes. Wounded, Driver visits his mother. She removes the bullet while he accuses his late stepfather of betrayal. She insists he couldn't have. Through tears, she reveals Driver wasn't really his son, and Gary was the only one who cared. Later, Driver listens to a preacher on the radio. The message is about hate and forgiveness. But Driver isn't ready to let go. At work, Cicero and Cop piece together that all the victims were informants. The connection grows clear. Driver heads to a church. The preacher is another man from the ambush, now a changed man. After the service, they walk and talk. He admits his sins and apologizes deeply. Driver nearly kills him, but spares his life. Killer, watching from afar, prepares for their clash. Inside the church, Driver sits with Gary's photo. Killer enters, gun drawn. Cop arrives too, revealing both men are inside. He ignores Cicero's warning and walks in. Facing Killer, Driver refuses to fight him. Killer demands recognition, but Driver brushes him off, then Cop shoots Driver from behind. The truth is revealed. Cop was the one who set them up, the one who shot Driver years ago, and the one who hired Killer. Stunned, Killer leaves, but Driver survives yet again thanks to the plate in his skull. He hunts Cop down and finally kills him. With vengeance complete, he scatters Gary's ashes into the ocean, then gets back in his car and drives away.